Assalamu alaikum, I'm Saadat Nisar and you are studying e-commerce. If you remember, we were discussing JavaScript in our previous lecture and I had shown you a few examples using JavaScript. I had shown you an example using JavaScript, how can we create a calculator, we can insert certain values in text boxes, and then using some event handlers we can do the addition, we can do the subtraction. If you remember, I told you that we can get our result in 3 different ways using JavaScript. For instance, we can get the result of addition in an alert box, so therefore in a pop-up box, in an alert box, the result would be displayed. There we shall be using the alert function of the window object as you had seen in the example before. Then the second way to get the output, to get the result, is that we create a special text box, and in that text box only we display our result. Then the third method, the third way to get the result, the output, and to get it displayed is through document.write. If you remember, through document.write we can get certain information printed or typed on our web page. So wherever we want the result to be in fact typed on a web page, we use then document.write. So in the same example, the calculator example, I can do some alteration, some slight modification to get the result using document.write. You can see on the screen the code before you. We start with the HTML tag, then there is the script tag, language, JavaScript, because I want to apply JavaScript, and then the function add it, and there are 3 statements within the curly brackets in this function add it. In the first statement, I have defined the variable whose name is num1, and the value of num1 is document.callform.1.value. You know by now that in fact I'm asking that the value typed by the user in the text box called 1 in this form called call form, that value should be assigned as value to the variable num1. Similarly, I define in the subsequent line the variable num2. So I write var num2 equals document.callform.to.value, which means that the value typed by the user in the text box named 2, that value would be assigned to the variable num2. And then in the third line, I write my formula. I use the document.write, and document.write, I write the string within the double quotation mark. The result of this addition is, you can see that this statement, the result of this addition is, this is enclosed within double quotation mark. You remember, whatever information we want to print as it is, we give that information, we enclose that text within the double quotation mark, and then that is called a string. Then I use the plus sign. This plus sign is here in JavaScript used to join or to concatenate certain information. After the plus sign, you can notice I have written my formula parse float num1 plus parse float num2, and then I close the small brackets. Here I'm asking that num1 and num2, which the user had inserted, which the user had typed the values thereof in the text boxes, these 2 numbers be added up after they are converted into the data type float because of the parse float function. Then the addition, the resulting addition, that should be joined or concatenated with the string the result of this addition is. So you will notice that the web page on which this result would be displayed, it would be written there, the result of this addition is, whatever the value of addition would be, that would be there displayed. Similarly, I use another function, as you can see, function minus, and I define my variables in the similar fashion. So the top two statements num1, num2 defined in the same fashion as in the function addIt, and then I use the document.write. Within the string, I write the result of this subtraction is, then the concatenating mark, the plus sign, and after that pass float num1, and now here I put minus. Instead of plus, I write here minus. Pass float num1 minus pass float num2. That means that value of num2 will be subtracted from value of num1, and the result is then displayed on a web page. And underneath you can see, after I close the script tag, then there is the body tag, then there is the form tag, name, call form, and then I create my text boxes. First number input type text, name 1, max length 3. Then to create the second text box, second number input type text, name here is 2, max length 3. And then input type button, name, add, value, add them, on click, add it. You can recall that this word on click, it is an event handler. I have kept its value added, which means that when the user would click on this button, add them, the control would be shifted on the function addIt, which we had earlier seen, and then the function addIt, its statements would be processed, and accordingly the result would be displayed. Similarly, to create the button minus, I write another input tag, input type button, name, minus, value, subtract them, and here on click is equal minus, which means that when the user would click on the button minus, then the control would be shifted to the function minus, and then the statements contained in that function, they would be processed, and the result would consequently be written on the web page due to document.write. Then I create a reset button, I close the form tag, close the body tag, close the HTML tag, and you can see the result. You find that there are two text boxes created. First text box for first number, then the second text box to type the second number, and I have in fact typed two numbers. In the first, I have typed the digit 9. In the second, I have typed 3. And then you can see there are three buttons, add them, subtract them, and reset. And when I click on the button add them, after putting these two numbers, they are automatically then added up, and the result is displayed on a new web page. And you can see it is written, the result of this addition is 12. So whatever information I had enclosed within the double quotation mark in the document.write, that is, you can see printed as such. The result of this addition is automatically displayed as such, and then the two numbers which I had inserted, they are added up, and their result is concatenated or joined with the string. So you can see the 12 after the word is. In the similar fashion, I can do the subtraction as well. I type two numbers in the two text boxes, and then I click on the button subtract them, and then because of document.write, the result of this subtraction would be displayed, would be shown on a web page. You can see that also in the slide. Here you see there are the two numbers. The first number is 3, second number is 9. When I click on the button subtract them, the result is then shown, is typed on a new web page. As you can see, the result of this subtraction is -6. So these two numbers, they are then operated in such a way that subtraction takes place, and -6 is the result, which is joined with the string. The result of this subtraction is. We can also create our calculator for doing the multiplication, for the division job, etc. And we just need to do a slight change in our formula for that purpose. Instead of using the plus and minus sign, then we use the multiply and division sign, these operators, in order to do the job done. Let's have a look at the code again. I'll be brief this time because you already know the function of this code. The slight changes which are brought here, I would focus more on those now. So let's start with the body tag. In the body tag, I use the form tag, then I have used the input tags to create my text boxes. The text box called 1 would be created, then text box called 2, and then for buttons, I create now the multiply button. The label on this button now would be multiply because of the value attribute, and then you can see on click equal multiply it. This means then when the user would click on this button multiply, the control would be diverted towards the function multiply it, which I have introduced at the top of the code. Similarly, using another input tag, now I create my divide button, and on click value is now divide it. That means that when the user would click on this button divide, the control would be shifted to the function divided, where I have written my formula. Then the reset button, then I close the form body HTML tags. Let's now look at the functions multiply it and divide it. You can see in the function multiply it, again there are 3 statements. I define the variable num1, then I define the variable num2 in the similar fashion we have already understood. Then I use the alert function and I write alert parse float num1 multiply parse float num2. That would basically multiply these two numbers which the user would type in the 2 text boxes, and their result, their product would be shown in an alert box. Then look at the function divided. Again num1, num2, they are defined in the 2 statements. And then there is the alert method, alert function in JavaScript. You know alert is a function of window object, predefined browser object. And then parse float num1 slash is the operator for division, slash parse float num2. So therefore the num1 would be, the value of num1 would be divided by the value of num2, and the result of this division would be shown in a pop-up box in an alert box. Let's have a look at the result now. You see, this is the example multiply and divide calculator. In the 2 text boxes, I have typed the digits 2 and 3 respectively, and then I click at the button multiply, and therefore the result, that is the product of these 2 numbers, which is 6, it is shown to me in an alert box, as you can see. In case I want to divide the 2 numbers, I have written these 2 numbers 3 and 2 in the 2 text boxes, as you can see, and then I click the button divide, then the number 3 is automatically divided by 2, and the result, which is 1.5, this is displayed, this is shown on the pop-up box. You can see it in the slide before you. Next, I want to show you an example so that we can learn how can we make the items, the options contained in a selection list as clickable. So how do we create hyperlinks? We make our items of the selection list in a clickable form. So that is done again using JavaScript, and you'll see through the code how we do that. You can see in the slide that there is a selection list and it has got 6 different options. First option, select a page previously done. Then the second option is calculator, which I have in fact selected. Then the third option is style sheet. Fourth, web forms. Fifth option, table margins. And sixth option is frames. So all these 6 options, they are appearing in a selection list before us. And I want all these different options except the first one to be clickable, such that when a user would click at the option calculator, there would be a page, a calculator that would open before the user. If he clicks on the option style sheet, some web page containing style sheets would open. If he clicks on the option web forms, a form should open. Similarly, a table should open if he clicks on the table margin option, and if he clicks on the frames option, some web page containing frames that should be displayed. How do we create these different options clickable? This code would tell us that. So you can see that we start with the HTML tag, then the head tag, and I have given it a title, a drop down list of links, head close. Then I start the script tag, language JavaScript, type text oblique JavaScript, and then I define a function here. Function's name is goToIt. Function goToIt, and it has got within the bracket a word list. A list here would mean the argument, the parameter associated with this function named goToIt. And then within the curly brackets, I write a code where selection equal list options, then within the large bracket, list dot selected index dot value, and then I use an if statement, if selection not equal none, location dot href equals selection, and then I close the curly bracket. I would very shortly be explaining what does this mean, but let me first explain what is contained within the body tag. You can notice after closing the script tag, I start with the body tag. Then there is a form tag in which I have introduced a select tag, and within the select tag I have applied a few option tags, in fact 6 option tags. Select width equal 20, that would tell to the browser that the box in which these options are to be shown, it should be of such a size, of such a width, that it can accommodate up to 20 characters in it. Then there is the event handler on change, and I set its value goToIt, and within the small bracket I have written the keyword this. This here is a keyword in JavaScript. When a selection is made, control is shifted to function goToIt due to event handler. Then all the information or list contained within select tag is passed over to argument list in function goToIt because of the keyword this. I can write any word as argument of function goToIt. Here I have chosen the word list, with the help of which function goToIt would be able to view the values passed over to it from select tag. In the function I have defined a variable selection, and I keep its value as list.options list.selectedIndex.value. List.selectedIndex is a property which would refer to the option number which I have in fact selected. Eventually, list.options list.selectedIndex.value would be translated into the value or name of the selected option. If my selected value is calculator.htm, then calculator.htm would be assigned as value of the variable selection. Then there is an if statement, you can see, which says that if selection is not none, that is the first option here, then location.href equal selection. In other words, the value of selection variable should become clickable. Note the word location here refers to another predefined browser object. Also notice that closing of option tag is optional here. So in this way, using JavaScript, I can make different options of my selection list as clickable. You may have noticed there was a reference to if statements in the previous example. So it's good to know at this point what an if statement is and what useful function does it perform for us. We use if statements in order to alter or change the sequence of execution of our code depending upon a specified condition. That means that after the keyword within the small brackets there would be some condition. If that condition is satisfied, then some code in the curly brackets, some statements contained in the curly brackets, they would be executed, otherwise they would not be executed. So let's have a common day example in this regard. Say you want to enter a room which is locked. You can only enter this room once you have the key of that room. Otherwise you would stay outside. So that means key is the condition here to enter the room. Similarly, the condition provided in the small brackets, if that condition is fulfilled, if it is satisfied, only then the code would be executed, otherwise something else would happen. In the slide you can see I have used an if statement to explain the concept. Again the HTML tag, then the script tag, and I have in fact used the same calculator example to explain this concept here. Function minus, and then I write three statements where num1 equal document dot colform dot one dot value. That means num1 should have the value typed by the user in the text box called 1. Then where num2 equals document dot colform dot two dot value. That means the number typed in the text box number 2, that value should be assigned to num2. And after that I have used the if statement. If parse float num1 is less than parse float num2, then alert negative. It means through this if statement I am telling that in case the value of the variable num1 is less than the value of the variable num2, then in that case an alert box should be generated in which the word negative should be written. And if this is not satisfied, if this condition is not satisfied, the condition which is parse float num1 less than parse float num2, in that eventuality then the statement after the word else would be executed. You can see the keyword else, and after that within the curly bracket I have typed alert parse float num1 minus parse float num2. This shows that in case the condition in the if statement is not satisfied, then the value of num2 should be subtracted from the value of variable num1, and the result then should be shown in the alert box. Then I close the script tag, then within the body tag I use the form tag and I create my text boxes, the text box called 1, then the text box called 2, then the button on which the label is subtract, and I use the event handler on click equal minus, which would shift the control to the function minus when the user would click on this button minus, and then the reset button, form, body, HTML are closed accordingly. You can see the result of this code before you. In the first text box I write the number 2, in the second I write 3, and when I click on subtract, since number 2 is less than number 3, therefore accordingly the word negative would appear in the alert box. The if statement, the first part of the if statement, that would be then executed. In case the first number is greater than the second number, as you can see 3 is greater than 2, then the statement which is after the keyword else, that would be executed, and the subtraction accordingly would take place, and the result of this subtraction, which is 1 in this case, that would be shown in the alert box as you can see before you. There is a concept of loops that we can very usefully apply in programming, and there are mainly 3 different types of loops that we can apply. First of all, there is the for loop, then while loop, then do while loop. Most popular among these is the for loop, and I want to give you a basic concept about the for loop with the help of an example. As you can see in the slide, in case of a for loop, there would be the keyword for, that would be first of all typed, then there would be a condition, and then there would be some statement. In case of while loop, we write the keyword while, then within the small bracket there is some condition, and then within the curly brackets there are some statements to be executed if the condition is satisfied. In case of do while loop, there is the keyword do, within the curly brackets there are statements, then there is the keyword while, and then comes within the small brackets some condition. The objective of all these three different types of loops is that we want some action to take place repeatedly till a particular point. So whenever we want some action to take place repeatedly, we therefore use for loop, or we use while loop, or do while loop. They serve the same purpose. You can see in the slide, I have used a for loop to create different levels of headings. In fact, there are 6 different levels of headings which are created. The first H1 level heading you can see at the top, then hello 2 is the second level heading, hello 3 third level heading, hello 4 is the fourth level heading, and so on. In order to create such a result using for loop, I'll have to write the code as you can see on the screen. You may notice there is the HTML tag, then the head tag, then the body tag. In the script tag, I use the keyword for, because I have to use this keyword in order to create a for loop. Then within the small brackets, I type 3 statements. I is equal to 1, then there is a semicolon, then I less than 7, then there is a semicolon, I plus plus, and I close this small bracket. This is a part of the syntax for a for loop. You have to write these 3 statements. Then there is the document.write, and within the small brackets, I introduce first of all a double quotation mark, and then there is the angular bracket, and for the heading tag, I write the character H, and then I close the double quotation mark. So in this way, I am basically putting my heading tag in the form of a string. Remember that wherever I use my HTML tags within the document.write or within the script tag, I have to put those tags within the double quotation mark. This is again a part of the syntax. Then you can notice there is the plus sign, which is the concatenation mark. We use plus sign in order to join some information with the string. And then you can notice there is no double quotation mark, and I simply write the variable name I. Then I again put the plus sign. That would in fact add the value of the I with the character H. So if it is to be an H1 tag, H is already in the string, and 1, 2, 3, whatever value of I is, that value would be joined with the character H in this fashion. And then again, after the second plus sign, I introduce a double quotation mark, and in this double quotation mark, it has got its corresponding closing double quotation mark after the word hello. So in the second set of double quotation mark, the characters, the angular bracket, the closing angular bracket, the right angular bracket, and then the word hello, they are contained. They would result in the typing of this word hello. Then again, plus I plus, they are not within the double quotation mark, because I want to take the value of this variable I as such, and I want to join this value with the word hello. So therefore, I do not put this plus I plus in the double quotation mark. Then again, the third set of double quotation marks, which contain the 2 exclamation marks. Then there is the starting angular bracket \H, and then the double quotation mark ends. Again, this part of the closing head tag would be treated as a string. By syntax, I have to use this heading tag, the closing heading tag within the double quotation mark, and then plus I plus, again plus I plus, they are not within the double quotation mark, and that information, the value of the variable I, that would be therefore joined with the character H used for closing the heading tag. And then the closing angular bracket is again within the double quotation marks. So you can see there are 4 double quotation marks I have used here to create the impact, and plus I have used this information plus I plus thrice, and this information plus I plus is not within the double quotation mark because I want to concatenate the value of this I with the tags or with the text contained, which is hello in this particular case. Let me explain the concept of for loop. After writing the keyword for, I type 3 statements within the small bracket. The for loop always start with an initial statement, which here is I equal 1. Second statement is a condition. Since i's value 1 is less than 7, so document.write would be executed and h1 level heading hello1 would be displayed. Then third statement of for loop I++ would be executed, and there would be an increment of 1 in the value of I, which would become 2. Then the condition would be checked since 2 is less than 7. So again document.write would be executed and the word hello2 would be shown in a level 2 heading. After that again there would be I++, that is value of I would become now 3. Then the condition would be checked. Since 3 is less than 7, therefore the loop would run again, and through document.write hello3 would be written in a level 3 heading. This loop or this process would continue till the value of I becomes 7 using I++. In other words, when I is equal 7, then in the second statement obviously I's value is not less than 7, which means the condition is not fulfilled, and consequently the loop would terminate and we come out of the loop. However, by then the loop would have run for 6 times, generating 6 different levels of headings for us. You can see again the result. At the top, level 1 heading, hello1 is printed. Then you can see hello2 second level heading, then hello3, hello4, hello5, hello6. So because of this for loop, I was able to create 6 different levels of headings in this fashion. So in this fashion, because of the for loop, I was able to generate different levels of headings as you saw in the previous example. I told you that there are certain predefined objects, and each such object has its own properties and its functions. So you are familiar with the global object, and there is the document object, date object, string object, math object, array object, etc. These are all predefined objects. Let's have a look at the example that relates to the maths object, and we'll be able to see what are the various properties and functions regarding this predefined object. There is a code before you in which I have used some properties of math object and some of its functions. You can see I start with the HTML tag, then there is the head tag, and I've given a title tag, and then there is the body tag, and I write a heading h1 using the math object. Then comes the script tag, language equal JavaScript, type text oblique JavaScript, and within the pair of script tags, I have introduced a few document.write in which I have used properties and functions of the math object. So you can notice in the first document.write, I type math.py colon. You can notice this is within the double quotation mark, therefore it would be treated as a string and would be typed or printed as such on a resulting page. Then because of the plus sign, there is a concatenation, certain joining of some value would take place. Then math.py, there is no double quotation mark used for math.py. Here I am invoking, I am applying the property pi of the math object by writing math.py. Therefore, the value of pi that would automatically be picked up and would be written on my web page. Then further there is a plus sign after pi that would again result into concatenation, and then I write a paragraph tag. You can notice this is within the double quotation mark. Remember that whenever I am using HTML tags within the script tag, within the document.write for that matter, then I have to enclose all such tags within the double quotation mark. If I do not write this paragraph tag within the double quotation mark, then there can be an error generated in my page. Plus you also have to notice and remember that this paragraph tag would always be within the small brackets of the document.write. If you write this paragraph tag outside the small brackets of document.write, again there can be an error. Anyhow, this paragraph tag would result into a line break and a line space before the second document.write can be executed. And the second document.write is math.log2 colon, and then there is the concatenation sign and math.log2. This is without the double quotation mark, so therefore log2 being again a property of the math object, the value of log2 would be calculated and would be written on our web page. Then again after the concatenation sign there is the paragraph tag, then the semicolon to terminate the statement, and then there is the third document.write. Now I use a function of the math object. First of all, in the string I write math.sin90, means that I want to take sin 90, and then after the double quotation mark, after this string, there is the plus sign, the concatenation mark, and then I write math.sin90. Consequently, the sign of 90 would be calculated and its value would be written for me. Then there is again the plus sign and then the paragraph tag. Afterwards, again I introduce another function of the math object, document.write math.random. This is a keyword random, a function or a method of math object, and when I write after the plus sign math.random, that would in fact pick up a value within the 0 and 1. Any decimal fraction would be picked up for me within 0 and 1 by the browser, and that would be written for me. After the plus sign, then there is again a paragraph tag. Again, it is within the double quotation mark, within the small parentheses. Then in the next document.write math.pow2, 3 colon. Again, that is in the string, so that would be displayed as such. Then there is the concatenation sign plus math.pow2, 3. That again, POW is again a method, a function of math object, predefined function, which means that 2 raised to power 3 should be calculated. So accordingly, 2 raised to power 3, which is 8, that result would be printed for me, would be typed for me. Then plus sign, then again a paragraph tag, which would result into a line break, a line space, and then in the last document.write, again I use a function min, math.min and I write two numbers 123, 133, that would be printed as it is, because this is within the double quotation mark. It would be taken as a string. After that, plus sign, then math.min 123, 133. Min function means that what is the minimum value which is written within the small brackets. So minimum is 123 out of the two numbers written. So the minimum value therefore would be pegged and it would be typed. I can also write math.max. In that eventuality, the greater number, that is 133 in this case, that would be picked up and then that would be displayed. Then there is the concatenation sign, paragraph tag, and then the document dot write is terminated with the semicolon. I close the script tag, close the body tag, close the HTML tag. When this code would be executed, you will see that the relevant results would be displayed for you. These properties, these different functions of math objects, they would automatically be invoked and they would display their respective results for you. Let's have a look at the result using the math object that appears as an H1 heading, then math.py, because that was within the double quotation mark, therefore it appears as it is, and then the value of pi 3.14159 etc. that value is automatically picked up by the browser from the system and then that value is written against maths.py. In the next line, maths.log2, consequently the value log2 would be calculated and would be written for us. Because of the paragraph tag, you can notice there is a line break, a line space, and then the next document dot write is executed, which is math.sin 90, and consequently sign of 90 would be calculated and would be accordingly written for us. Math.random, as I mentioned, any value, random value between 0 and 1 is picked up by the browser and that is displayed for us when we use the method, the function random of math object. Math.pow, and I have written 2, 3, separated by a comma. That means 2 is to power 3 and the value, resulting value 8 is shown against math.pow. Then math.min 123, 133, the minimum value out of these two numbers is pegged and is accordingly shown. So you can notice 123 written against maths.min. Similarly, there is another predefined object, the array object. It has got its own properties and its functions or methods, like length. This keyword length is a property of the array object. Similarly, reverse, join, sort, these are some of the functions or the methods of the array object, and using these different properties or methods or functions of array object, we can bring about our different desired results. I want to show you an example in this behalf. You can notice in the slide before you. In the script tag, language, JavaScript, type, text oblique JavaScript, and then I define an array. I keep its name my array, and I have inserted 10 elements in this array, 0 up to 10, and I have enclosed these values within the large bracket and I terminate it with the semicolon. Then the first document dot write my array colon first element. This information is within the double quotation mark, so therefore it would be displayed as it is. Then after plus my array 0, that means that the element which is at the first index in this array, that value should be picked up, and which in fact here is 0 itself. Then the concatenation mark, and then there is the paragraph tag within the double quotation mark, and then the second document dot write my array dot toString, and this information again within the double quotation mark, so it would be displayed as it is. And then after the plus sign, my array dot toString, that function toString used for array object would tell the browser that the array should be displayed in the form of a string comma separated. So in fact, in this particular case, it is already comma separated, so it would be displayed as it is. Then in the third document dot write, I have used the join function of the array object. So my array dot join, I insert the value in the parenthesis of the join function as a colon. So now the result would be that my array, instead of being comma separated, would be now colon separated. Then in the next document dot write, my array dot reverse, I have used the reverse function of the array object, and my array dot reverse, when I type this, I concatenate my array dot reverse with the string. The result would be that my array would be written in reverse format. So 10 would appear first, then 9, so on up to 0. This is the function of the reverse method. And then document dot write, my array dot sort, and then this is within double quotation marks, so that would appear as it is. After concatenation, my array dot sort, and that would basically sort the elements of the array in the ascending order. And then after the plus sign, there is the paragraph tag, which is enclosed within the double quotation mark. Then I close the script tag, body tag, HTML tag, and the result you can notice. My array colon first element was 0, so 0 is printed as it is. Then my array dot toString, the array is then printed for us, which is comma separated. Its elements are comma separated. Then my array dot join, the value was colon, so the elements of the array are now colon separated. My array dot reverse, that would write the array elements in reverse order, so you can notice 10, 9, 8, so on up to 0. Then my array dot sort, and it would write the array elements in ascending order, so you see 0, 2, 4 up to 9. You can notice here this abnormality that 10 appears after 1 and before 2. This is because the first digit is seen for sorting purposes by the sort method, the sort function. So we conclude here. Basically in our today's lecture, we have seen how do we use if statements, how do we apply for statements. With the help of examples, we were able to see the working of each. Then we have reviewed the examples in relation to the math object, then the array object. In our subsequent lecture, inshallah, we'll continue with the JavaScript examples. Till then, it's Allah Hafiz.